Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this live broadcast. Let's begin with the Liberia National Anthem. Welcome, Brother Jenkins. Welcome, Bishop Chapel. Welcome to this live broadcast. We're going to be talking about this Liberian Civic book. But in the meantime, enjoy Sweet Liberia by Zach and Juba. Carter, welcome. We are glad to have you. It's my pleasure. We'll be talking about the new Liberian Civics book, Foundational Words of Our Nation. Cousin Mabel, welcome. Very shortly we'll begin the discussion on the foundational words of our nation. It's all about Sweet Liberia. This is the one and only country we have, and so we got to make it better. Hey, George. Welcome. Welcome, Ophelia. I'm glad to have you. That's the author, Ophelia S. Lewis. Thank you so much for joining. Brother Dave, welcome, and thank you so much to all of you for joining. Very recently, Atia Solution published a book entitled The Republic of Liberia, Foundational Words of Our Nation. This is a civics book, and this is an attempt to contribute to the civic education of Liberia. Fremont Chia, welcome so much. Thanks so much for joining. And this book is published by a Liberian non-for-profit group called Atia Solution. Atia Solution is a non-for-profit company based in Georgia. The book basically is a collection of the foundational document. That's why it's called the foundational words upon which the country is built. And these foundational words include our mission statement, which is the purpose Liberia was established, that is found in the Declaration of Independence. It also includes our constitution, which is our user manual. Just like if you have a product, if you have a new product, you need a manual. So the manual, the constitution is like the manual for the country. So if anything is broken, whatever you need to do, you consult the constitution. That's our guide. We also have in this collection the Pledge of Allegiance. That's our oath, the solemn oath to the country, the promise. We are promising when we pledge allegiance to Liberia, we are promising something. So that is collected in this book as well. We have our patriotic songs like the Lone Star Forever and of course the National Anthem. This song means something, and so what I think is even before you read this book, there are certain questions that we need to think about in our own minds. And if you are watching, this is a discussion, feel free to jump in, ask questions. If you want to make a statement, I can invite you and you can talk. We just want to, for some of you who have not read the book, you can contact me if you want a copy. I'm going to autograph a copy and send it to you. It's $10. If you, plus within the US, that's a $3.50 shipping cost. So for $13.50, we can send you an autographed copy of the book. It is also available on Amazon.com. It's available on Amazon both in a paperback and also in the Kindle version. So you can download for, I think it's $3.99. You can download a copy and read on your computer or on your handheld device. You can also purchase the paperback directly from Amazon.com and you'll be able to read it. The preface of this book was written by Professor Dr. K. Moses Namwe. And here is how he put it in the second paragraph. He says, "This little book that you are about to read contains the listed important documents of the Republic of Liberia, the serious promise to respect and defend the nation, 2 praise songs, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution. The information in the book has been arranged in such a way that you can carry the book in your pocket. Do you want to know words of the serious promise, that is the Pledge of Allegiance? Do you want to know words of the Liberia National Anthem?" And he goes on and on and on. He also says, "Knowing important things about one's country is part of what is called the civic duty. It means you are showing that you are willing to understand that you are an important part of the community." So that's exactly what the book is about. It's a civic education book. All right, now I got a question from Omer Kamu. He said, "What makes the book different from other civic books of Liberia?" Growing up in Liberia, for instance, the Constitution. The Constitution was, the revised one was published in 1986, and not many people have copies of that Constitution. In fact, those of us in the diaspora, I have never seen a hard copy of the Constitution ever since I left Liberia. So you have to go online. Not many people go online, and if you go online, there are other versions of the Constitution. You may not be able to find the one you want to read. Also, not many people, especially in Liberia, have access to internet. If you have internet, you want to call your relation in America, or you want to do social media, you don't really have time to read. So we have combined all these historical documents and all these foundational documents in one book, and this is the only book in the country of this nature. The Declaration of Independence, when I was going to school, I never saw it. Okay, here in America, I have kids that are in elementary school and junior high school. They do these these books. They talk about their country, the Constitution, the Pledge of Allegiance. But for us, we don't have that opportunity. So this book is to combine all these documents into one. The Declaration of Independence is the purpose of the country, the purpose for which the country was established. That's contained in the Declaration of Independence. So how can you support an organization if you don't know the mission, the purpose of the organization? So to really be a part of this country and proudly talk about it, you must know the purpose for which it was founded. That is found in the Declaration of Independence, and it's in this book. Also, we see that we struggle with maybe obeying the laws or even knowing about our laws. The Constitution of the country is within this book. This is our guidepost. This is the one that that's supposed to guide us. So it's within this book. And really, what I thought about when the group got together to do this is a certain question. As a citizen, what are my responsibilities? What are the things that are required of me as a citizen of the Republic of Liberia? Again, what are my duties as a citizen of this country? What does it even mean to be a Liberian citizen? For most of our population that grew up in the war, all that you've seen and heard about Liberia is this country that has been ravaged by war, this country that has been almost decimated by 14 years senseless war, and also things became exacerbated by the Ebola and all the negative stuff that you hear. But there is an intent for the country for which it was organized. This is a country, when they got together, they say, well, we want to create an oasis in Africa. We want to create an asylum country where people all over the world who are suppressed and oppressed can go to Liberia and have peace. That was the intent. Things might have happened along the way, and we may not have gotten to the true meaning and the true purpose for which Liberia was established. That's why it is befitting to write these things down so that we as the current generation can go back to basics and see what we can do so as to bring back that original intent to make it possible that we can have that asylum nation in Africa, the Lone Star of Africa. Okay, Manu, thank you for your comment, and anyone is free to chime in. Brother Songbe, Tiro Weti Songbe, thank you for joining. Benu Hunter, all the way from California, thank you for joining. We are discussing the civics book, The Foundational Words of Our Nation. And when we talk about the foundational words, we are talking about all those documents that created and guided the country to what we are today. That includes Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Lone Star Forever, the Pledge of Allegiance, and so on and so forth. At the back of the book, we have, if you don't mind, I can tease your brain a little bit. This book has changed my life, and I want some people who have read it to come on and just give us a testimony on what this book has done for you. For the first time, I've read the Constitution 2 or 3 times in my life. And this was, eye-opening. If you know the Constitution, oh, hey, Manu, you can get a copy. Just give me a call. Give me a call, and I can ship one to you. That's $10 for this copy, plus $3.50 shipping and handling. Or shipping, no handling. I'll handle it myself, okay? No problem. You can also get this from Amazon.com. You can go on Amazon and pick up a copy. We have one for paperback, which is $11.99, and you can also have the Kindle version. You can download that on your computer or on your phone and read it. But hey, let me ask you a question. These are multiple choice questions on the Constitution. Most of the time you hear people say, oh, Liberia, we have laws. How familiar are we with these laws? Question number 1. What is the minimum age a person must be to serve as member of the House of Representatives? A, 18 years. B, 21. C, 25. D, 30. Hey, says Talokuangba, welcome, all the way from Minnesota. Anybody? Question number 1. What's the minimum age a person must be to serve as member of the House of Representatives? 18, 21, 25, or 30? 2. Every person arrested or detained shall be formally charged and presented before a court of competent jurisdiction within how many hours? A, 24 hours. B, 36 hours. C, 48 hours. D, 72 hours. These are just questions to tease your brain, and they are all at the back of the book. So at the back of the book, you will find these questions called Test Your Brains. Hey, Brother Elijah Tete. I call you Reverend Dr. Tete. Okay, someone is guessing to be member of the House of Representatives. Someone said 25 years old. Oh, Manu is very definitive. 25 years. That's what Manu is saying. Okay, let's go to question number 2. Every person arrested or detained shall be formally charged and presented before a court of competent jurisdiction within how many hours? For those, if you are just joining us, we are discussing a book that has been newly published. This is a group called Atia Solution. Let me read this thing to you. It said, by publishing this book, Atia Solution strive to 1. Assist in the development of an informed, effective, and responsible citizenry. B. Help Liberians know their rights and responsibilities as citizens of Liberia. And C. Spark a conversation that will help citizens reflect on what it means to be a Liberian and proudly sing our national anthem. Are you proud to be a Liberian? Why is it that you're proud? What does it mean to be a Liberian? Most of the time when we come to the United States, we hear these things, or what does it mean to be an American? What America represents. Most of these things have been laid down in these documents. And I was reading the 1847 Constitution. It says the reason why, you see, what we've read in history about these people. Okay, there's a question right there. But let me just end this. They had to declare, I started asking the question, do they really needed to declare independence from whom and all kinds of things. In the 1847 Constitution, if you start to read it, it gives the reason why they had to hurriedly, declare their independence. Number 1, this was a small country that was sandwiched between all these colonial powers. So Great Britain in what is now called Sierra Leone, France in Guinea and Africa, so they started cutting pieces of Liberia. So, and the only way our founding fathers said they could approach this was to become a country, because they couldn't negotiate, land deals, tariffs, and all these things if they were not, an independent country. So they had to do it. And those of us that have traveled along the West Coast, you will see that there are parts of Guinea that you can clearly see that look really, really Liberian. So those of us that travel along from the Yekepa border, you see Tuo, Bosu, all the way to Lola, really look like Liberia. And you could see the same ethnic group along the border. Same way if you go on the Ganta side to JK, if you go to the Côte d'Ivoire side to Danane, if you go to the Maryland side to San Pedro and Tabou and all the other areas, you could clearly see. And those that have been to the Sierra Leone side have not been there, but I heard that's the same case. Brother Dave, you asked a very important question. What population? Oh, man, you look like you are making your research. But that's good. You are making, you say 48 hours. It said, what population of Liberia are you targeting? My goal is our goal is for every Liberian to hold a copy of this book. If you cannot read, have somebody to read it to you and interpret it. Okay? We want for this, by the grace of God, for this book to be taught in our Liberian schools, so that people will have a copy and understand the Constitution. People will understand, or to read for the first time, for most people, the Declaration of Independence. Why was it important? What does it say about our fundamental rights? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that's what he used to defeat when there was, segregation, discrimination, slavery, and all that. He used the words from the Declaration of Independence to fight against the power that be that day. So he said, well, your book, the Declaration of Independence, tells us that all men are created equal. So how come you are not treating me equally? So knowing these foundational documents, very, very helpful. If you don't, like in India, I think during the caste system, they still have some semblance or some level of the caste system. But what it did was to hide education from people of the lower caste. Because if these people don't get education, they can't challenge you. So one of the things I try to do in this book is to put this book in the hands of ordinary Liberians. People that can read and say, oh, so these are the responsibilities of a legislature. So if someone comes to me to canvass to become member of the House of Representatives or a senator, and they are telling me, hey, if you elect me, I'm going to build your role, I'm going to give you scholarship, I'm going to give you X, Y, Z, I'm going to go back to the Constitution and say, well, but that's not your function. That's not your function. Your function has a lawmaker are laid down clearly in the Constitution. So if people know, if they see the copy of this book with you, they're going to think twice before they engage you in any argument. So when it comes to the population we are targeting, it's everybody. But we want to start with our school system. If by the grace of God, the government of Liberia or the Ministry of Education can recommend this book to be read in all our Liberian schools, that would be phenomenal. That would be a game changer for the country. Because I envisage Liberia that's going to be the most politically informed nation on earth. That is possible. We really thought the electors in the United States knew everything until we saw 2 elections pass and how people voted. So we Liberians, you can tell, even right now, everybody is politically engaged. So what we try to do is we just want to put the tools in their hands so that they can become an effective and informed, responsible citizenry. Do you want another question? For those of you who are joining, we are discussing the Liberian Civic Book, the foundational words of our nation. All the foundational words, including our Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Pledge of Allegiance, our patriotic songs, the Lone Star Forever, and the National Anthem. Grace, if you are on, you sing the Lone Star Forever so beautifully. Can you give us just one stanza? I can invite you if you don't mind. To be honest, I don't know how many people know the Lone Star Forever, but I don't know how to sing it. Honestly, that's a confession. I cannot sing it. I never learned it in grade school. So I really applaud those that can sing it. And one of those people is Grace Bully. Grace, if you can, please sing the National Anthem for us. Oh, okay, we can invite Grace. All right, so that's the National Anthem. I did a survey, before this book was published. I wanted to see how many people have read the Constitution, how many people have read the entire Constitution, how many people just read bits and pieces, how many people can sing the National Anthem, how many people can sing the Lone Star Forever, how often do we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and the result will surprise you. And that's the kind of gap this book has come to fill. So wherever you are, and it's $10 if you order from me, that's $10. Plus $3.50 of shipping cost. You can also get it from Amazon.com in paperback or the Kindle version. If you are downloading the Kindle version, it's $3.50. If you want the paperback, that's $11.99 plus shipping and handling. That's from Amazon. Okay, so if you can, want you to buy at least 2 copies, one for yourself and one to share with someone. Why it's true that we want all 4 million persons in Liberia to have a copy of this book is $10. With the cost of living in Liberia, not many people can afford it. What we want our organizations and individuals of goodwill to do is to order copies from us and donate them to any organization in Liberia of your choice. It could be your former school. You can get 10 copies for $100 and donate to your former school, donate to your county, donate to your whatever group. Hey, Bendu, we say, can we petition the government to have this book in the schools in Liberia? I appreciate that. Whatever we can do to talk to the government to say, hey, we need to know this. I have a son in 4th grade, and they are very literate when it comes to their Constitution, their Declaration of Independence, or their civics as a whole. So, it's very, very important that for us, because most of the issues we face today can be solved if we understand what our laws are. Our laws are supposed to be our guidepost. So if we don't know, it's going to be tough. Hey, big brother Joseph, Baba Joe, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining. Good question, Dave. He said, what can non-Liberians learn from this exercise to acquire a copy? I have talked to a couple of American friends, both African Americans and Caucasian. And the first thing that came to them is, oh, Liberia is just like us. Because it's always that tendency to look at African country as, that country, as if the people are not, they don't have the same desire, they don't have the same longing, they don't have the same qualification as any other persons across the globe. So the same issues that are faced in America when it comes to unemployment, inflation, or whatever, those are the same issues that we face in Liberia and other places. So the first thing that came to them, we are all the same. You have a constitution, you have a Declaration of Independence, you have a Pledge of Allegiance, just like us. And so, and they were very happy to hear that. So when they went through, they said, well, most of these things, the same way the settlers came to Liberia, as reflected in the Constitution, is the same way that our founding fathers came from Great Britain here. Also, what you learn is civic education cut across everywhere, because the only way democracies can be sustained is when citizens participate, and that's for every country. Okay, so for instance, you have to vote in an election to elect your leaders. So if nobody votes, we don't have democracy. If you don't petition your senator, your representative to do something, then there's nothing going on. So that is very common in whatever country you are. So when they saw, they say, yes, to really teach your country or your people, or to give them the tools to be involved in their own decision or political or civic education, that's very important. And Ghanaians want that same level of engagement from their citizens. People from Nicaragua want that. People from Syria want that. People from Saudi Arabia want that. Want people to be engaged, because our human needs are all the same. So for non-Liberians, what you can learn, you can duplicate the same thing for your country. You can come from Sierra Leone, or you come from Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria. You can take the same format, the same idea, get all the foundational documents of your country and put them in the hands of ordinary citizens, so that these our leaders don't feel that they got all the answers, they know everything. If they see this book with you, they know you know what you are talking about anytime you engage them. So that's what I learned from people that I spoke with from other countries. And I encourage all of you, thank you so much for watching. I encourage you to tell somebody about this book. You can go online, Google it, and you'll get it. Call me or send me an email. My information is on my Facebook. You have a flyer there. We're going to be going through a book signing ceremony. We have targeted 5 cities. That will be Atlanta, Georgia, Minneapolis, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and of course, Monrovia. We are targeting these cities to go and do book signing. As the law make resources available, we're going to be doing just that. So watch out, and we're coming to the city near you. If you don't, there's a, hey, Welcome, Mark and Chuck, for joining. We are discussing the civic book. The title is Republic of Liberia, the Foundational Words of Our Nation. The foundation, everything, every structure, and Mark can relate to this better than I do, or explain it better about the foundation. For a structural engineer, the foundation is everything. A bad foundation will make a bad building. It's going to collapse. And sometimes when the building is up, we don't even think about the foundation. We can't even imagine it. But it is because of that foundation that the building is standing. So the foundation of Liberia, the foundational words that created, that brought forth this country, they are found in here. The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Lone Star Forever, the Pledge of Allegiance, the National Anthem. These are important documents that we, as Liberian citizens or friends of Liberia, that we need to be aware of and that we need to have our fingertip, because that's the foundation. If there is anything we want to change about Liberia, we go to the foundation. If there's anything we think is wrong or right with Liberia, it lies with the foundation. I spend time and time arguing with people. For those of you who saw me on the listserv, responding back and forth, I took a different trend, okay? Because if the foundation is not right, most of the time we're going to argue just for argument's sake. But if we really want to make a change, if we really want to impact our country, we have to go back to the foundational documents. These documents, I'm not saying we should change them or we should do whatever with them. I first want for us to understand them. I want for us to read them. I want for us to know them, so that when there is any problem, we know where to go. Just like an engineer will have a very solid foundation for a building to really succeed. Hey, Aaron, thank you for joining. And Veronica, thanks so much to you for joining. And yes, thank you and you're welcome. I want to thank every one of you for joining this quick meeting. I appreciate your time. Once again, these are the foundational words of the country. If we want to make any impact on Liberia, we have to go to the foundation. If we don't understand the foundation, whatever we do may not work so well for us. Our Declaration of Independence is the document that established the country. That's where the purpose of Liberia is. The Constitution is our guide. Because we have gone through war and we know that our laws, adherent or non-adherent to our laws, have something to do with it. So it is my prayer, it is my desire that we take this book seriously and help rebuild and build our country. That's the only country we love, and that's the only country God has given us. Thank you so much. If you have further comments, please don't hesitate to call me. My number is 978-726-6965, or send an email to the group atiyasolutions@gmail.com. God bless you and thank you for joining. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate you being on. God bless. Oh, before I go, there's one last question. It says, so what is your opinion on modifying some of the documents and symbols since they may not reflect reality? Yeah, I have there was one time that I think there was a group set up to look at our symbols. That was a good exercise, but I think the first step should be to look at the foundation, look at all the documents, So my goal here is for us to first be able to, all of us, and I mean all of us, to go back to the foundational documents, okay? To go back and read and understand. Let's teach this, just like the Bible says in Deuteronomy that teach this to your children. For those of us who are having kids in America, give this book to your children. Let them read and understand what Liberia is, why Liberia was established, where is it. We also have a brief on Liberia. You could see in a book there's the map of Liberia, but that represents a thumbprint. Thanks so much to our graphic designer, Frank Morris, who designed this. So this is in the form of thumbprint. So we talk a little bit about Liberia. You know, what the country is, when it was established, who constituted, and all that. So before even changing the symbols or doing anything to the symbols or doing anything to the documents, let us read the documents. Let us understand them. And that's why I say this is going to spark a conversation so we can have a very fruitful discussion on where we go next. But the first thing is, let's read it. Let's understand what this document says. Let's be able to talk about them. Let's discuss them. By the way, I have a Facebook discussion page or Facebook group. Please go to my Facebook group and join the discussion on this book so that we can discuss it. We want our public schools in Liberia and private schools to teach this book. So the discussion we have concerning these documents on this Facebook group is going to go a long way in helping other people. Hey, last thing, thank you so much for joining. And we are concluding and we are closing this broadcast. I want to appreciate all of you. Please do your best to talk to somebody about this. Send me an email, order a copy either from me or from Amazon.com. Get a copy. We encourage your organization, being it the Sino County Association, being it EULA, being it your church group, whatever organization you belong to. Order some copies and donate them to Liberia in the name of your organization. You can send them to your former school. You can send them to your county. You can send them to your football team. You can send them to your church, whatever. So that we can, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that every Liberian have a copy of this book and that it is taught so that Liberia become the #1 informed citizenry in the world. It's possible. We can educate 4 million people. That should be a piece of cake. If you have a radio station, talk about this book on your radio station. Explain it in your local language to the people, what it means to be a Liberian. What are your responsibilities? What are you supposed to be doing, okay, as a citizen of the country? And that comes from reading this book. I thank you all, and may God richly bless you.